Hi everyone, this is CLC, also known as Symphony, the owner and creator of the site symphony.com. I'll link you down below. I'm coming to you with a series of videos that I wish had been around when I was looking to create custom content for The Sims 4. I wanted to make videos for anyone who was interested in creating clothing, meshes, and recolors for the game, but they didn't know where to start. I remember being completely overwhelmed by the multitude of videos, tutorials on websites, and just wishing that there was a static line where I could learn from beginning to middle to end. I decided I would help anyone out who was looking to create custom clothing for the game and just needed a little direction on how to get started. I want to add a disclaimer that this is not a tutorial series. I don't believe that anyone can really give you a tutorial on how to create for the game. I think that there are certain steps that you need to take in order to get your content into the game, and that's one thing. But as far as creation goes, it comes down to what you would like to see in your game. And that's definitely something that I want to stress. Please make sure that anything that you decide to create is something you're passionate about, or you're going to get frustrated very easily, you're going to feel overwhelmed, and you're not going to feel that pride that courses through your veins at seeing your creation in game. While it's wonderful to want to create to make other people happy, you should definitely make sure that anything that you create makes you happy first and foremost. I'm not sure exactly how many videos there will be, but I would like to make a video for Sims4Studio, Photoshop, Marvelous Designer, and Blender at the very least. Once again, I just want to stress that this is not a tutorial. Please do not feel like you need to follow every step that I'm doing to a T in order to create for yourself. These are just the steps that I've taken to make my own custom content, and I definitely encourage you to march to the beat of your own drum. If you have any questions, if there are any suggestions, comments, tips, tricks, techniques, I'm always here. You can either comment down below in the notes, or you can private message me here on YouTube if you're more comfortable doing it that way. Or you can go to my site, go to Fact Answers and Questions, go to Contact Me, and send me an email at symphonycc@aol.com. All right, so let's get started with the video. Welcome to the first video. In this video, we're going to be exploring Sims4Studio, what it is, where we go to download it, and how we incorporate it for use with Photoshop. That's the program that I use to recolor my clothing. So the very first thing that we need to do is head over to Sims4Studio. And this is the address up here. It is Sims4, the number 4, studio.com. I'll also link you down below. The first thing you're going to need to do is register. Just like with Mod the Sims, just like with the Sims resource, if you download for the game, you understand that you need to register before you can utilize any of the sites. It is a safe site. I have been registered for years now. I don't receive any spam. I don't receive any kind of junk mail, no viruses, nothing unwanted. You come, you go as you please. It's a really great site though, and it has a very plentiful forum, as you can see. There's news about, the game, about the program itself, any kind of updates. If you want to know about that, this is the section to come to. Then you have just basically a section showing you what to do if you have any issues with the program. And then you have like the creator forums, where if you are looking for help or inspiration, if there are any, questions that you're looking for answers to, you can browse the forums, or you can come here and post your own question. So it's a really great site. You can also come and post your own creations. People do upload things to be shared. It's like Mod the Sims in that way. And it's just a really friendly, helpful, user-friendly forum. So I definitely encourage you to sign up and take a look around, but you need to register first. So upon registering, you're going to come to this screen. This is the main forum. Okay, this is the main screen really, with all the little, forums gathered onto it. And then in order to download Sims4Studio, you're going to go to this section. So it's the second, blue bracketed section. you're going to go over to downloading and installing Sims4Studio, and you're going to click there. It's going to take you to this page, and you're going to go to downloading Sims4Studio and click there. And it's going to take you to this page where you're going to see a version that is for Windows and Mac. Okay, the Mac version is usually a later version, as is with all games. The Mac version usually comes out a couple of months later, or it's using a version that is previous to the current version, which is usually utilized by Windows. So right now, this is the version of Sims4Studio that everyone is using. It's called Wishes. And the Mac version is using the previous version. If I'm not mistaken, it is the previous version called Candy Apple. So Wishes has been out for a while. Usually whenever there's a huge game update or there's a new stuff pack or expansion pack, the creators at Sims4Studio will rush, and thank you guys so much, because you help to keep us sane, because I know what it feels like when, you know, that update or that patch just completely throws everything out of whack. And I'm like, okay, when can I start creating again? It's a very... It's a wonderful service you guys do. Thank you so much. But they will update a new version, and if necessary, they will, you know, create a whole new version with the new name here. So Wishes, if I'm not mistaken, has been out for a while, and I know that they've done little, you know, updates and patch tweaks, but that will be automatic with your Sims4Studio. I have not had to download a new version in over a year, if I'm not mistaken. So they've been doing a wonderful job. It kind of like self-regulates in a way, but this is the page you come to if you need to download any version of the game or any updated, you know, versions for your computer. So if you're using Windows, you're going to use this one. If you're using Mac, you're going to use this one. So once you get the program, this is what it's going to look like. Sims4Studio was this little window, and you can move it around. You can even change the size, but I like to kind of keep it at this size. I think it's just like nice and, you know, tiny. And it basically comes with a splash screen that you can navigate to different sections. You can go to animation, build, create a sim, which is cast or object. Being that I create clothing and clothing meshes for the game, I only come to create a sim, and I keep it at this little checkmark section, which is create cast standalone. I know that these seem to be more particular, but I've never had to use them, and I've never had an issue with the meshes in my game. I will look into them and see exactly what they do, but this is the one that I use. So you're going to have to create your creator name. It can be anything. It can be your first name. It can be your middle name. It can be your last name, first and last name, a nickname. I put my site name, which is www.symphony.com. So once we have our creator name, we're going to then venture over to a site that we need to go to in order to get our plugins for Photoshop. So what I mean by that is we need to be able to integrate Sims4Studio to be used with Photoshop. And there's something called a DDS file, which is the actual file that you're going to color in Photoshop in order to put the color onto your Sims clothing. So you need to come to this site, and it's modthesims.info. And it's /T/572040. And I'm going to put that link down below as well. And you're just going to scroll all the way down. You can read if you like. Definitely. You know, I encourage you to read whatever you can just to further understand things. And you're going to download these 3. And as it says, download, please read all instructions before downloading any files. Please do read. It'll tell you exactly where to put these, and you're going to have to navigate, you know, through your computer and find your Photoshop folder, and you're going to have to put these wherever they tell you they need to be put. Now, once you have the program and once you have your downloads from Mod the Sims, you're ready to create clothing recolors in Photoshop. Right now, I'm using Photoshop, and I do realize that a lot of people may not have access to Photoshop. I believe I heard rumors that there was a version of Photoshop you could use online for free. I know that some people use GIMP, some people use other versions. I used to before I used Photoshop. I actually still own Jask Paint Shop Pro. I used to love that program because I was very intimidated by Photoshop. And if that's your reason for not using Photoshop, please don't be intimidated. I had to learn Photoshop. My degree is in graphic design, so we were using Photoshop. There was just no way around it. And I actually grew to love it. I don't even think I've scratched the surface. And one of my professors actually said, don't be intimidated by the program because unless you have created or helped to create the program, there's going to be something new you learn every day. He said, I've been doing this for years. I've been using this program for years, and I learned something new every day. And it was really comforting because it is intimidating when you stand apart from it and you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to use it. But once you start to see how I use it, you'll see. It's very basic stuff that you're doing, and you just take your time, you take a deep breath, and you just go over the video as much as possible. And once again, I'm here to help if you do have any questions. You can also go onto the Sims4Studio forum, and you can also browse that mod, the Sims forum as well, because they definitely have creator help forums there. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a file to recolor in Photoshop, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So once you have the program downloaded, once you have your plugins, and once you've made your creator name, and you can change your creator name at any time, by the way, you're going to go to the Create a Sim button. And like I said, I just have the Create Cast Standalone option selected. I really don't go to these. I'm curious about these though, and I am going to do some research, but I've always had this one just checked. And then I'm going to click the cast button, and it's going to take me to a selection of all the things that are available for recolor within my game. Okay. When I say my game, I mean the packs that I own, because I do not own all the packs. So whatever is available, and like I said, it's a self-regulating program, Sims4Studio. It links up to your game. When you download, it's going to ask you where you want to download it. I suggest that you do an automatic installation, but if you have another place you want to download it, on my last system was like an interim system. So it wasn't going to be something I was using for very long. I was just keeping it until I bought this system, which is a brand new system. I actually had it on my external hard drive because the interim system had very little hard drive space, and the external hard drive was like 2 terabytes. So you can pick where you like to put it, but just understand that if you're choosing to put it someplace else, it's going to be it has to pull from the game. But if it is pulling properly from the game, all of this is going to update and populate. Like if I get a new pack and I go into the game and come back here, when I come out of the game, it's going to update and populate with all the new recolor. So you do have to go into the game, and then you come back out and you're going to see all your new options. See, this diamond means that this is the base game. Let me go down to, okay. So I believe this is, and it'll show you here, luxury. I forgot what the name of and if you ever don't know what the game packs are, you can go here to this option. So let's see what this one is called. I totally forgot the name of it. We'll look for the one with the diamond. Luxury Party. Okay. So this is a great way to find out what packs each one of these belong to, just in case you want to include that with your upload. Once you make your creations and you put it out for other people to download, you can just let them know, well, it requires this pack or this, just this, version of The Sims in order to show up in your game. It shows you all of the options for all sexes and all ages. It shows you, hair. It shows you makeup. It shows you facial, things, eyebrows, eyes. It shows you, all versions for all ages. So what we want to do is we want to filter all of this out, because what I've decided that I want to do is recolor a toddler dress for you. So the first thing we're going to do is come here to all of these filtering categories, and you've already seen what the game pack filter can do. So we're going to go to species human. We're going to keep that there, and that will change if you have pets and you're trying to recolor for pets. We're going to keep it at human, and we're going to go to gender, female. Okay, so now we only have female clothing, and some of them are unisex because, of course, the toddler and the kids, there's going to be a lot of unisex clothing, a lot of unisex hairstyles. We're going to go to age, toddler, and now we have less options, which is a good thing. It means that now we're focusing on what we're looking for. So we have all of the toddler female options. Okay, and then we're going to go to part type, body, clothing body. Now we have all of our one-piece outfits. If we were to go to clothing top, we'd have all of the tops. Okay, if we were to go to clothing bottom, we have all of the bottoms for toddler females. Okay, so we're going to go to clothing body because we want to recolor a dress. And I've decided that the dress that I'd like to recolor is actually down here. And I think it's looking for the game pack. I believe it's called Toddler, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Toddler pack. So the dress that I want to recolor is actually this dress. And if you hover your mouse over it, don't click. If you click, it's fine. But if you just go away and you come back and you hover your mouse, it'll tell you all the details of your item. So PF body, PF stands for toddler female. And it tells you SP12, dress scalloped. It'll tell you exactly what the game has it categorized. And it'll tell you the colors solid orange. And if you were to go to this one, it says solid yellow. If you go here, it'll say dress two-piece, rose blue. It'll basically tell you what each one of these are. You can rename them to whatever you feel comfortable renaming them to. The very next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on our dress, okay? And we're going to come down here to next. We'll click on that. So it's going to basically ask you, well, where do you want to upload your dress to? And I have a couple of different folders, and I actually named this already. I actually did this tutorial already and I deleted it by mistake. So I'm just going over what I did before, but I'm going to show you exactly how I go about doing everything. So I have named my file symphony.com TF body toddler stuff dress orange. Okay. You can name it whatever you want. You can name it orange dress. You could put your creator name first. You could put your creator name last. You could leave out your creator name if you like. You can name it to whatever you feel comfortable naming it to. Just make sure that it's something that's distinguishable so that you can find it later on and it's not confusing. So once you do that, I usually copy this. So I Control C because I go to the next screen and I just paste it there so I don't have to retype it. But I'll show you another trick just in case you didn't copy and paste because I forget to copy and paste sometimes. So what you want to do is copy and paste this selection and then you want to click save. Once you do that and you save the dress, it's going to come here to this new screen. Okay. This screen is going to be your workspace. And if you've ever used Milkshape for The Sims 2, it's kind of similar. Kind of. I know the background is very, very similar. So the navigation features in here are quite simple. In order to zoom in, you're going to use your middle mouse wheel. And you're going to, if you want to zoom closer, you're going to push the mouse wheel up. If you want to zoom away, you're going to push the mouse wheel back, okay, or toward you. So we're going to zoom in. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lift her up. And the way we do that is to hold down our mouse wheel and then push up. And if we want to move her down, we hold down the mouse wheel and push down. Okay, so we're going to lift her up. If you want to spin her around, because whenever you're creating, you do need to see everything from every angle, you're going to hold down your right mouse button and you're just going to move it. This is moving right and this is moving left. You can also move it up and you can move it down. Okay, so basically you're going to position your sim in a way that you have full view of whatever it is that you're recoloring. Once you do that, we're going to come over to this area and I'll tell you a little bit more about what this area entails. So this is the color of the dress. let's say that you feel like, and I do, that this color is usually not a good representation of, the color of the actual dress. You can hit this button. And as you see, it disappears up here. This is what you're going to see in the game. Whatever you choose up here is going to be what you see in the game. What you can do is you can either left click here, and it's going to come up with a color wheel. And you can say, okay, the dress is somewhere around here. Okay, but that can be a pain in the behind. So what I would suggest you do is right click in this box. You're going to get a dropper tool, and you're going to see that no matter where you go with this dropper tool, it is copying the color. Okay, and you can copy a color that's more representative of your item. You can do it with different colors too. So if you wanted to really, get detailed and say, okay, it's different oranges, you can do it like that too. You can go up to 3. Okay, if you decide, you know what, I only want to use 1, you click these 2, you delete them. Okay, so that section is explained. Here is your section for how the game is going to showcase your design. So I'm going to tell you something that I do, and other people probably don't do that. I have found that it just gives me a sense of relief to do this couple of steps. I think a mission, okay, if you just click on a mission, I think that has something to do with more so jewelry, anything that's metallic or glass. It may have something to do more so with objects. I'm not sure, but there's nothing here. Okay, this is blank. There's nothing to delete because there's a button down here that says make blank and it's gray. And that's what we want, okay, for everything but diffuse. And it may be shadow, okay? It all depends. I'll tell you exactly what I mean. So next is going to be normal. If you look very closely, you can see the grooves of the dress, okay? I don't want any of that in my game. I want this to be flat, okay? I just feel like this stuff shows up if you have high definition settings in your game. And I just don't want it on my dress. I feel like I would just much rather things be flat. I have a couple of items that people probably left this kind of stuff on, and it interferes because I do have high definition settings. It interferes with the clothing, and it just looks really weird. It looks raised. It kind of looks like clay clothing, and I really don't want that. So what I do is I come down here to this purple button, and I click on it, and now it's grayed out, just like a mission. Okay? Next is one that I hate more than I can put into words. And I have tried to finagle with this. I don't want to. If you keep this, and I believe normal on your clothing, for those who are using high definition, your Sims are going to look like they were dipped in baby oil and left out in the summer sun. I will show you what I mean in another video, but it looks very, very freaky. Everything looks plastic on them. They look like a very shiny doll. It doesn't look, it's really, really weird. So I also do the same with specular. I just delete it. Okay, it's just helping to give the dress more definition. If you are interested in how to use emission, normal, and specular, Sims4Studio's website, best place to go. Trust me, I'm just not interested, and I have to be honest. So the next thing is shadow. If you look here, you can see the shadow of the dress, just like places where it's like contacting on the skin. So around the straps, and this is the back strap. So you can see like, it's just like shadows around, where it's showing on the skin, which is what it's called, shadow. And then you have the shadow down here where it's showing on the legs. It's really, really subtle. I don't see a difference when I delete it. You can delete it too. The only time that I will absolutely delete it is if I'm going, for instance, if I took the straps of this dress off, okay, and I'll show you how to do that in Photoshop another time. If I took the straps off and just decided to make this, a cinched dress, meaning, just take that off and just have it start from here, I would have to remove the shadow, at least up here. Because otherwise you're going to see the shadow of the straps when you go into the game. You won't see it here, but you will absolutely see it in the game. I promise you. So you can keep shadow, you can delete shadow, but if you change the shape of the dress, you have to change the shadow. You either change it or delete it. Trust me, I have had some really cute creations that I've had to hop back out of the game and alter them again because I forgot about the shadow. So then you have diffuse, okay? And it looks just like this. Looks like a front and back version of this dress. This diffuse is what we're going into Photoshop to recolor. Okay, so once you recolor it in Photoshop and you save your file in Photoshop, you're going to come here and you're going to click on import. You're going to bring your file in and you're going to see the recolor of your dress. I'm going to show you what I did to recolor the dress so you can see what I mean. So I'm going to go to import. I imported the recolor I made and see, I have all these little cute chickadees. I deleted that for now because I want to go back to where we were. The design will come in the next video. I'll show you exactly how I made it. So the very next thing we're going to do is come over to this third category. So we have texture, we have meshes, which we're not going to get into until we start meshing for the game. And then we have categories, okay? Is this section absolutely necessary? I'm going to say yes and no, okay? If you have certain meshes that you only want to show up for females, but they're unisex. If you have certain recolors, okay, that you only want to have show up for females or just males, you know, but it's actually supposed to be unisex here, this is the section to come to make those changes, okay? So you have outfit type, which is clothing body. And then you have age and gender flags. You can change them to any age, but I would absolutely keep it at the age it's supposed to be. So for toddlers, it's toddlers. For child, it's child. And then for adults, you can alternate between adult, teen, elder, young adult. If you decide that there's something you just want teens and young adults to wear, but not elders and adults, this is where you change that. Okay. Whenever I create for adults, I do keep all 4 sections though. I don't like to age discriminate. So the next section is going to be whether or not you want it to be female or male. You can choose both. Okay, understand if you choose both that it's going to come up in the male section for toddlers as well. So if that's not what you want, then you would uncheck this and just keep female checked. Next, you're going to choose colors. And this is where you decide what colors you want to choose. And you can choose more than one. You can choose them all if you like. For this dress, I would say it's more like an orange red. Somebody can even say orange, red, and brown. Okay, what this section basically is going to do is pull things from the game so that it matches with the colors that you're telling it that this item is. So if you randomize your sim, it'll pull some, I don't know, orange socks or some brown shoes. It'll try to give you clothing option ideas. Also, if you have your item available for random use within your town, your townies will also be able to wear them randomly. So you do want them to match, because I've seen some townies who were wearing things that look like they just threw on everything they owned and went out there and couldn't have cared less about clashing. So it's nice. It kind of gives you an opportunity to mix, you know, and match, but within a certain color range, or it'll give you colors that complement whatever colors you choose here. So I do like this section. Okay, if you choose nothing, it'll just, you know, it'll categorize as nothing. That's not an issue. Next is age appropriate. Once again, it's going to be toddler. It's kind of repetitive, but, you know, you choose the selection that you are sure about. And then once again, feminine, masculine. And, you know, some of these, they seem repetitive, but if you go into the game and, you know, you're looking for certain, you know, like you're looking for feminine clothing. If you have this, like, let's say you have all the other settings the way that they are, but you check masculine and uncheck feminine, it may not show up where it's supposed to or where you want it to in your game. You're going to kind of be scrolling for it, and, you know, you'll find it in the masculine section. So it's kind of nice to tag your creations. It makes it so much easier to find. And then for occult, you know, this human, vampire, alien, mermaid, I usually just check them all. I really do. Once again, I hate discriminating because I don't want to create something and then I get all excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks so great on my alien sim, and I didn't check alien. And now I've got to come out of the game. I've got to check it, put it back into it's just a pain. So I just check them all, honestly. I don't mind having everything available to all, you know, settings. And then outfit type. You can decide whatever outfit you want this to be categorized as. So they've already checked every day, formal, situation, party, and hot weather. I usually uncheck party and formal just because, I don't know, unless it's actually a very formal dress, unless it's like one of those dresses that you can wear at a party, I usually don't check these two options. So I'll uncheck them now. This looks more like an everyday dress to me, so I do like that. I like this. Situation, I don't really know what that means. Once again, you can go to Sims4Studio to figure it out. I just use my imagination and figure that they will place it in a situation that they feel is the best at the moment. Depends on the situation whether or not this dress will be used. I usually keep that clicked. Then we have hot weather. And that is definitely a hot weather dress. You don't want to click cold weather. I mean, if you do, the Sims will be wearing this in the cold and they won't feel cold, but it's not going to add realism to the game. I like to add as much realism as possible. Then we have color palette. And we can decide what kind of color this is, okay? Is it like something that's more earthy? Is it more like light? Is it, something that's, for summer, winter, spring? Is it like goth rock, punk? Whenever I think of this, I think of like, skulls and like kind of like what is that store that everybody talks about? Hot Topic, like something like that. Is it like, does it have jewels on it? Is it, grayscale dark? So it's summer, but I'm also going to say spring. And as far as the color, I'm going to say it is earth toned. Then we have fabric. I say that this is cotton, but it's also synthetic. Synthetic can mimic cotton. It can be wool, but wool is kind of heavy. And silk, I can't really say I can see this being silk. I like cotton and synthetic, but you have other options. Leather, silver, denim, metal. You have all these different options. As far as archetype, I never really choose anything here because what are you going to categorize this? It's not an African dress or an island dress or a North American. This is just an all-around dress. It can be worn by any one of these, and you can check them all if you like. I never bother checking this section. Okay, it's nice. It's cute for people who may want to really, really categorize. I just don't use it. And then you have subpart type, and it's already clicked off as short dress. Okay, you have outerwear, jumpsuits, costume, long dress, robe, swimsuit, suits, overalls, lingerie, and apron. Okay, so a lot of these are for adults, but they've already chosen short dress. And then you have this last section here, part flags. And this checkbox, allow for random, I believe that allows anyone in the game, including townies, to be able to wear it. If you uncheck it, you won't see your townies running around in it. You also have restrict opposite gender, meaning that, other sexes can't wear it in the game unless you specify. And I don't know what restrict opposite frame means, but I guess it's probably linked. So I just always allow for random. I think it's cool to see your townies wearing something that you made. And because I make sure to click on all the other categories, it's usually matching. So they don't look too outrageous. Once you're finished with this category, okay, you're then ready to go into Photoshop and start to recolor your dress. So that is where I'm going to basically start in video number 2. I'm going to show you how to get your file ready to go into Photoshop, making sure that diffuse is checked. Go to export. Okay, and this is already created, but if you remember, we copied the name of our folder. If not, you can always just press the beginning letters if you don't remember, or if you forgot to copy and paste, you can just press for instance, in my case, SIM, and it would pop up here. You just have to remember to delete the .package because it's not going to be a package file. It's going to be, if you hover your mouse, it's going to be a DDS image. That is what you need in order to recolor in Photoshop. That's why we downloaded the plugins. Those plugins allow us to recolor the DDS image in Photoshop. Okay, so then you're going to click Save. And just close any windows that open and keep this main window open. And you're going to then have your file ready to be open in Photoshop. Okay, so I'll show you exactly what I mean. Just for the sake of showing you, we're going to export. I'm just going to put a number 1 here. And we're going to click Save. This window is going to pop up. We don't need this window. It's just saying, hey, this is the folder it's saved to. We don't need that. And then we're going to go into Photoshop. And we're going to click on the DDS file. And like I said, if you get confused, just hover your mouse over. This is the package file. This is what we need to put into the game. This is what we put into our mod folder, our mods folder. We don't open this. Let's see, if we try to open this, it's going to say it's the wrong file type. Could not complete your request because it is not the right kind of document. Okay, so you want to go back and make sure you click the DDS image. And then you're going to click open. And here your address is. Okay, so I'm going to pick up on this in video number 2. I think we've learned a lot for today. And once again, if you are confused in any way, shape, or form, you can always go back to the beginning and just take it very slow and just try to process it. You can go to the Sims4Studio forum and take a look there. There are other YouTube videos that can definitely go further into depth. I'm just showing you how I use Sims4Studio. That's why I don't call this a tutorial, because I don't know all the details, nor do I really want to know at this point. I know that what I'm doing helps me to create clothing and recolors for The Sims 4, and that's just what I want to pass on. Going into every little detail may be a little overwhelming if you're trying to learn, but if you feel that you do want to know more about things like emissive and, shadow, please, by all means, I would definitely visit the Sims4Studio website. And I'm sure that there's a lot of tutorials on how to go about, using that, because it's a pretty cool feature, but it should definitely be monitored very carefully. You don't want to put a logo using specular or, and then forget about it and then try to create something over it. And, your logo is still kind of shadowed there over, a brand new item of clothing without that logo. So if you do need any help beyond anything that I've showed you, please feel free to visit the Sims4Studio website and have a look around. It is a great forum. You will not be steered wrong by asking your questions there. Thank you for joining me. I hope you learned a lot from the video. Please feel free to send any suggestions, any links of your own that you'd like to direct me to. You can also feel free to message me privately here on YouTube, or to go to my site, www.symphony.com, which is also linked down below, and you can send me a message there at my contact information, which is symphonycc@aol.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in video number 2.